I think we got the best fans in the league. The Arrowhead carries the torch for being the best fans in the league. Some of the loudest ones and the most fun ones. So
the atmosphere, the fan base, the support groups had an impact on our season.
This fan base is dialed in.
Like, I'm gassing you guys up and gassing up the state of Utah, but it's the truth. You guys have one of the best fan supporter groups.
I'm going home to play for my hometown team. Looking back to when I was 10 years old, that's every kid's dream.
Welcome to another episode, and if you're joining us, you could be joining us from a couple different places because this is a combo episode. So we are here. Obviously, you've got us, the Arrowhead, and we're your official podcast, the official supporter group of the Archers Lacrosse Club. But also we've got with us Jackson from Empty the Quiver podcast, and so we're doing a combo episode, wrapping up the regular season here for the 2026 season. So Jackson, welcome, and I guess for us, we're welcome on your podcast. So happy to have you with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's always a great time to talk some shop with some fellow super fans. So really happy to be here.
Yeah, love chatting with you guys. It's always a good time. And obviously we're missing JB today, and we're missing Brady from on our end. So we've got the core group here: Toast, myself, and Jackson. So let's start, guys. The regular season literally just finished. I want to say 15 minutes ago, out in Philly. We are de facto number one on the East, on the West, number one team, coming from last place to first place. Couldn't get a much bigger change. We've done the full swing now from first to last to last to first. Jackson, give us your thoughts on this season, high level.
Yeah, obviously, the additions of McGuire, Ryan Steins, and really Leo Johnson, and I'll talk about this in a minute. The drafting history of this team is unparalleled. Every year we get multiple guys that play meaningful minutes, score meaningful points for this team. So hats off to Chris Bates on that one. I think really that kind of the inflection point, it was the insertion of Leo Johnson into the lineup, in Charlotte. That's when our offense really kind of kicked off. And so, it's been awesome to see. The four short sticks has worked beautifully. I think JB and I talked about it. I think we have 24 points from those guys this season. So averaging 2 a game from the short sticks is huge. And couldn't be happier with where this team is right now.
Love it. Toast, give us your thoughts.
I got 2 words: coaching and culture. So going off the back of Jackson here, the coaching, Bates is the best in the league, and he proves it every year. We started off slow, and just through time and with making the right decisions, we're back on top. And we knew we always had the talent. Week over week, when we were struggling, we were talking about what changes we would make roster wise, and we're like, I don't know if we make any changes. We have all the guys on paper. We just need to get it done, and we did. And then culture being the second thing. It's not only that we have the right guys; they all mesh together so well. All of us have had the chance to talk to a lot of these players, and they all say the same thing: the culture is different, the locker room's different. This is such a tight knit group of fellas, and it's just a different team. You can tell just by the chemistry that they play with on the field. You can see it, and you can see that this is a team that cares deeply about this team and the Utah on the front of their chest. It's awesome.
Love it. Let's kind of break it down. Let's go back to front with the team. Start with Dauber in goal. He just came out and just announced that he, in 2 straight seasons now, not a single game under 50%. That's insane. Jackson, give us your thoughts?
Yeah, not only that, he's also the only starting goalie right now. I think other maybe than JC Higginbotham and Sean Byrne that just came on later, but he's the only goalie in the PLL that doesn't have a career game under 35%. And personally, I don't think he's played his best yet. Obviously we're about to get playoff Dauber. I think his save percentage is in the 70s in the playoffs in his 4 games. So yeah, defense wins championships, and he's the cornerstone of the defense. And I think, like I said, I think he's got his best lacrosse in front of him still.
Toast, what about you?
I'm gonna keep beating this drum, but the fact that he wasn't even nominated for goalie of the year when he should have won the whole thing last year was such a ridiculous joke. It makes me so mad every single time I think about it. And he's a shoe in for goalie of the year this year. I will burn something down if he doesn't win it this year, because he's realistically an MVP finalist, should be. And we know that they always give it to offensive players. Pretty much, it's pretty rare for it to go to anybody else. But like we'll be chancing MVP in Utah, 100%.
Yeah, 100% on that, and I would agree with everything you guys said. I think Dauber is nothing but consistent, and he's shown that. Like, I think he's a stalwart back there, and he's made it very clear he's Utah through and through. He wants to be Utah throughout his career, which we love. And not just what he does on the field, but like he has come out here and he's shown up to Mammoth games. He's come out to high school games and met with the kids and given them pregame talks. There's a Sixers thing happening that he's coming out to for the semifinal weekend. Like, he is fully invested, not just in the Utah Archers, but Utah lacrosse. And as somebody who's had my kids come through that and been part of it, like, thank you, Brad Dobson, for that alone, because it's doing wonders for the sport. So can't say enough great things about Dauber. And we'll just say, to your point, Toast, about not being considered last year, the goalie of the year last year just got pulled in the last 2 games of his regular season. So did they get it wrong? I don't know. But enough said
One
on
of the
that
other
one.
nominees just backstopped the league's worst defense ever. So a lot can change in a year.
Yes, it can. Let's move forward. Defense. Like, Jackson, talk to us about the D.
Yeah, they've been awesome. I mean, really, with losing Graham Hossack in the offseason, you would expect a team to take a step back. We've taken a step forward. Obviously, we averaged an ice cream game. We averaged 9.4 goals per game given up. Brendan Lavelle is my defensive player of the year. Obviously, I have orange and blue tinted glasses, but I mean, really look at that stretch in the middle where he guarded CJ Kirst, Brennan O'Neill, and I can't remember who he had in the TJ Malone in the Whipsnakes game. Total in those 3 games, 2 goals, 2 assists given up from combined. And then obviously, Mason Woodward has done phenomenally on some of the quicker, faster guys. Like, Hossack, you should just take the one, period. He could match feet. A little bit of a different approach this year. But yeah, Mason Woodward's been awesome. If we could get a couple less penalties from our LSMs, that would be huge. And then obviously, Warren Jeffrey's just the enforcer there. So yeah, nothing to complain about on the defensive side.
Toast, what you got?
Yeah, Dunham has stepped up majorly this year. Having been drafted and not playing in the first year, but then coming in as a starter, and we saw it in that first weekend in Utah. Like, okay, this kid's gonna be a mainstay for a while. And there's just something about gritty Canadians that we love in Utah, and they just get it done. And so, yeah, you've got a mixture of the veteran presence with Jeffrey, and then we've got a ton of young guys, but not all rookies, right? We've got guys with a couple years under their belt now, and it's been coming together beautifully. The narrative in the beginning of the season was that the 4D middies was dumb. What are we doing? Especially when our offense needs help. And I mean, it's worked. It clearly, the vision that Bates saw in the beginning of the season has worked. And man, it's beautiful to see. It's honestly so fun watching this defense and just seeing everybody get after it. It's so fun.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a minute, because obviously recruiting is a big piece of this, right? And Jackson brought up the fact that, like, we lost Hossack, and I feel like there was some pre-planning that went into this, because we took Woody a couple years ago with our first round pick, and everybody's like, I remember we were at the bar here in Salt Lake for a watch party, and everybody's like, who is Mason Woodward? Like, they didn't even have clips of him playing, like, up on ESPN. Stellar pick. And then we get Spider. Right, you got 2 polls back-to-back years, and everybody's thinking, well, again, offense, why aren't we doing anything? But you look at the pre-planning that went into this to get us into that position. So, and I'm with you, Jackson. Like, Spider should be on at least a nominee, if not a very strong candidate for Player of the Year, because of what he's done one-on-one against some of the best offensive weapons in the league. like guys that you hear about on ESPN, they laud how great they are and have done for years, and he's like, I quietly just goes in there and shuts them down. But let's talk about recruiting and going into the D midi line. Jackson, obviously, we picked up, Aiden McGuire, another D midi, and to your point, Toast, everybody's like, what are we doing? We don't need another D midi, but Jackson, you kind of made some good points early on. Talk us about your thoughts with that.
Yeah, I mean, we're really changing the way the game is played. Obviously, some teams have kind of reflected and even taken it further. I think the Chaos or the Hounds, when we play them, had five. I think everybody's seeing how much fresher the legs can be, and really, I mean, obviously, Bo was recruited to Princeton as an offensive midfielder. I mean, I listened to y'all's interview the other day with Aiden. He was recruited and said, "Hey, we want you to come play defensive midfielder," but he had played offense in high school. So there's skill sets there. I mean, Piper, has a 2-pointer, has scored some really nice goals. Connor's gotten on the board. So we're just so uncomfortable to play against. And yeah, I think, like I said earlier, I think we have 24 points from our short sticks this year, which is huge. I'm not sure any other team in the league has anywhere near that. And yeah, I mean, all I can say is I hope we see another pick six from Bo in Utah in a couple weeks, because that would just be icing on the cake.
Yes, it would. Toast, what do you think?
I totally agree. Totally agree. Couldn't add anything else to that.
As you think about this, Jackson, like you guys are going to have Coach Cav on an episode here. I'm going to give you a little spoiler here, but you guys are going to have Coach Cav on this week. It's been said that he has helped us win championships with his substitution game. How much do you put on, again, on the coaching, be able to say, hey, we're going to run this midi line, we're going to do something different and really shake things up? Like, what do you think about the coaching impact there?
Yeah, when we talked to Coach Bates earlier this year, this is the only coaching staff in the league that hasn't changed in 7 seasons. And so they've built a relationship, they've built chemistry, they've built trust. Obviously, we have one of the best coaches, period, ever in Tony Resch, leading our defense. And obviously, Cav brings kind of the younger perspective and a little bit more creativity. They definitely deserve some of the credit. We've tried, kind of that play where we run somebody off late and Woody sneaks over and tries to hit a 2. He's another one that I think still. I don't want to say that he has his best lacrosse in front of him, because he's been playing super well this year, but he's going to hit a 2-pointer at some point. It's kind of a running joke on our podcast, is that I call JB before a game, leave him a voicemail, and somewhere in that voicemail is Woody's hitting a 2-pointer tonight. I did say that, we can't say he's peaked too early because he hasn't hit one yet. But yeah, no, it's coming.
He's just waiting for the right time in Utah to hit a couple. So, yeah. Let's talk offensive side of the ball. Let's kind of load up attack and middies into one. But Jackson, you kind of brought up a point about Leo Johnson, but let's talk. There was kind of a big shifting point a few games into the season. We were struggling. It looked like a repeat of last year. Let's talk difference makers there. What do you think, Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with the Steins and King connection. Obviously, we were kind of trying to figure out who was going to play that attack spot. We had CKG and Cole in the lineup for a little bit. Steins played, King played. Finally, Sam King settled into that. But really, our point distribution is awesome. I mean, Fields at the top with 34, King with 33. Steins with 30, Mack and Trey both 29. We've got 14 from Leo Johnson. We got 8 from Ambler. I mean, it's just a team that's unselfish, moves the ball well, and really looks for those opportunities. It's been, really great to watch.
Yeah, Toast.
Yeah. Honestly, we had a lot of new faces this year, and so kind of redefining that offense must have been really tough, especially when you got a lot of our playmakers out. Matt Moore, Tom Schreiber, Grant Amen. These are all guys that are like the playmakers, the guys that you rely on to generate things. And so there was definitely a learning curve there, but everybody settled into their roles so well. And it felt to me like one of the most frustrating parts early on in the season was consistency from everybody. Like you would have games where like I don't want to pick on anybody, but you can name any player and they would have, zero contributions in one game and then, five, six, seven goals in the next game, so it was trying to find guys that were putting up numbers consistently, and we've seemed to settle into that crew that's just been excellent, and everybody knows their role. There's no egos. It's awesome to watch.
Yeah, it's been fun to see it. And Toast, you and I talked about this a little bit, like the introduction, like a Leo Johnson, somebody's a little quicker, beat their guy. Because it felt like we had a lot of guys who could move the ball and pass off the ball, but somebody could beat their guy. And then see Connor Fields, like when it started in Utah, and Fields, he was having Connor Fields moments, and we're like, oh, if he can get going and have a great season again, which he is, and do Connor Fields things, then it frees up everybody else a little bit more. And it's been great to see that progression. Jackson, I know you guys are close to Sis, and obviously JB's best friends with him. Like, that to me is another key for our offense as well this year. Like last year, he was hurt, wasn't there. And it was like, man, if you give up a goal, you're going to get right back on defense. And that's a killer in lacrosse. And for us to be able to say, hey, we can score and we can get the ball back and go again, that's a key game changer. Talk to us, Jackson. Just, I know you guys have a relationship with Sis. Like, how's he doing? Like, talk to us about the Sis effect this year.
Yeah, I think that, and I want to talk about one thing previously, but Leo Johnson inverting from X. I feel like we did not do that at all last year, and really, maybe more so in the earlier games, not as much recently, but yeah, inverting from X, beating a guy like Grant Ament used to do, and that's really opened a lot of things on our offense. And obviously, I think Sis is, let's see, 59% on the season. I mean, I think there definitely is a sweet spot of not winning too many. I mean, obviously, it's Sis's job to go out there and win the ball, but I mean, we're the only team ever that has won more than 65% of faceoffs and won the game. So yeah, we're right there in that sweet spot. Sis is killing it. I mean, really, he wins a lot of them to himself. It makes me more wary of playing teams like the Redwoods who have awesome wings or the Water Dogs who have great wings. If Sis is going to win it, he's got to win it to himself. If the ball's on the ground, we're not getting it. But yeah, he's been doing a great job of doing that. And then yeah, having the luxury of having a Bo on a wing or a McGuire on a wing, all the opportunity to go down and play a good 32-second offense is huge.
Yeah, for sure. We just kind of hit on that a little bit. Let's talk kind of looking forward. Like, we've just got done, like I said, the season just got done. California and Denver are playing again, and hopefully it's a better game than we just got played, because that was kind of a snooze fest, to be honest with you. I mean, California came away with the winner, but it felt like Denver didn't bother showing up to the game. Half their team didn't play, injured. We'll see if they really are injured. But when you start a whole new defense, it feels like maybe just resting guys at this point. You're already guaranteed. Nothing changes. Jackson, who are you taking and why for us to play in Utah here on Memorial Day?
Well, who am I taking and who do I want to play, I think, are two different questions.
Okay.
I think the Redwoods win again. I mean, I think that defense is long. They're athletic. A healthy Cole Kastner and a healthy Chris Fake are game changers for them. I think they were without one or both of them for most of the season. And then obviously, a great short stick in Brian Tevlin. And I really do think Dylan Malloy is probably the one player in the league that we don't have a great answer to. I think we could put Lavelle on him and be fine. I think we need to be prepared to do that if that's who we're going to see. I would rather play Denver at this point. I feel like King matches up on JT Giles Harris a little bit better than he does Kastner. I think Kastner just kind of has his number. Their two pole is maybe Mike Manley. I feel like a Fields or a Mac. I just like those matchups better. I just don't know if we're going to get to see it or not.
Toast, what's your option?
Yeah, I'm going to come in with the opposite take here, and I totally see what Jackson's saying. My argument would be we've got about a month's time until, or maybe a little bit less than that, until playoffs come, and Denver's biggest issue, it seems, this year has been injuries and just having a fully healthy team. There are other issues, but that's kind of been like the main one. And just when it comes to rivalry games, it seems like you can never count on who's better on paper. It seems like it always comes down to a few things, and Denver just feels more like a rivalry game to me than California does, despite us, having lost twice to California this year. I don't want to go in against Denver in a rivalry game, and I do think we're gonna win either way. But rivalry games are tough.
Yeah, it definitely makes you a little more nervous playing against a Denver in a semifinal game in Salt Lake City. I love home field advantage, but it is always that rivalry games can go any direction anytime. And we've already beat them twice. Is third time a charm for Denver, like to meet us and beat us, like that's difficult. And to your point, Austin, with injuries, do they make it through California and all of a sudden Bernhard and Kavanaugh come back and they're healthy and like, oh crap, now we're facing how many Twaraton winners? We wouldn't have to hear about that again, but like you don't want to have to face that fully fit squad. But I'm with you, Jackson, on the other hand of like California when they're running are really difficult to get through. When Toast and I sat down with Mike Rabel at the beginning of the year, he said California looks really dangerous this year. They've kind of been a lot of people's picks coming into the year, and so they've had kind of a hiccup. And again, I kind of look at the win today, and I'm like, was that really a win, or was that a win against a team that just didn't bother showing up today? It's like, let this one go. It doesn't matter. Hard to tell. It'll be interesting to see how they come out of the game. Like if a California team shows up and decimates Denver, and then we have to play them, they're going to come in full of confidence. It's going to be tricky either way, but to your point, like I look at them like we got to beat somebody, right? So it's going to be no games are easy games in this league, and it's just so difficult to tell. Like I don't want to face either of them. Like actually, can we face the chaos? Can we figure that out? Sorry, Josh. But you kind of talked about injuries a little bit, guys. Like for Denver, for us, we've had several weeks off now. We're going to have, we're not playing till September. Like it's going to be almost a month for us of having off time to be able before we play again. Tom was in practice before the last game, looking like he's ready for a playoff run. He's going to want 2 more games if he can make it. But let's say Tom's fit and healthy. Who's not playing? What do you think, Jackson?
Well, first of all, I think it's make the decision for Utah and stick with it for the championship. Love Tom to death. He's one of the best archers ever, one of the best players ever. But we need a little bit of consistency, from the semifinals to the finals. I think probably the pick there is Leo Johnson. I'm definitely not taking Steins out of the lineup. I'm not taking King out of the lineup. I'm not taking Trey out of the lineup. He's kind of the odd man out there. I thought he looked great in the one rep video that they showed on social medias, but the offense started clicking when we put Leo in. So, I may be a touch hesitant, but I think it would be awesome. Obviously in the 2024 season, he played the whole season, got hurt in Utah, didn't get to play. So this would kind of be like finishing that season for him. So I don't know what to think.
Yeah, and honestly, if Tom's back and healthy, like, man, do you risk playing in Utah again? It's
there's going to be a mental thing in the back of his head, like, hey, my last 2 seasons have ended here. That would be tough for me to get out there as well.
Yeah, 100%. Toast, what do you think?
Yeah, with this question, there's kind of a shout out I wanted to give out too. I think when we're looking at like who to take out of the lineup, someone who doesn't know ball and is just looking straight at points might look at someone like Ambler and is like, oh, why not just take Ambler out? But I think anybody who's watched film, knows the game, knows how big of a role Ambler has played this year. And I mean, just watching the film on him, I mean, he's hitting some nasty picks to get hands free for a lot of our shooters. He's doing a lot of work on inside. Like his off ball work has just been so excellent. And then that's not even mentioning his leadership ability, and just the juice that he brings to the team. So like I had to give a shout out to Ambler and how awesome he's been on the team this year, and just a fundamental part of bringing this offense back. And so I don't think he's a piece that I would take out. And yeah, I mean, I think the easy thing to say is Leo Johnson, but again, like we have to give so much love to Leo and what he's been doing this year. He's been so excellent. He's been that speedy piece that we've needed on the offense, like someone to get stuff generated, to get the offense flowing. And so it's like you really don't want to take any of these guys out. Like you love all of them, and so it's hard to say, but and it's so hard to know with Schreiber. Like again, how consistent is he going to be? But here's the thing: it's like you would take an injured Schreiber over a healthy player, like a healthy good player any day. Like he's Tom Schreiber, he's Captain America. It's like how do you ever say no to him on your team? You're never going to say that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, what the status is, but it would be really exciting to see him play in playoffs. I know that much.
Yeah, I feel like Coach Bates is sitting at a blackjack table of 20 right now. And does he take one more? Does he stick or does he twist? What do you do? So it's the great unknown. So I guess more like a 17 probably. But yeah, I'm not a cards player, but you know what I mean.
I will say both of the championship runs have had not fill in, but guys that we weren't used to seeing. Obviously, the 2023 championship, it was Reed Bowering filling in for Connor Fields, and then obviously we had Jack Van Overbeek, really filling more in for Matt Moore, but then kind of staying in the lineup with Tom's injury. So maybe that's the key to it too. This run is shaping up like some of the others. Lay in Utah late in the season, get some momentum, and then have a new guy kind of inserted into the lineup. Be the one seed. The old argument of rest versus rust. Obviously we're going to get to practice while everybody's in Minnesota. There's nothing like game speed, so we'll just see how that all shakes out.
For sure, and let's just be honest. Like we haven't seen a fully healthy Tom Schreiber play for Utah ever. He's always been hanging around with this injury. Like, if he's fully rested and healthy, like, how good can he be? And so again, to your point, Toast, you turned down the opportunity. Jackson, looking ahead, right? We're going to be back here in Utah in September. We win that, we go on to play in New Jersey. Like, who for you have to be kind of the key people on the roster to be like, hey, if these guys show up and do what we think they can do, then I think we can beat anybody.
Yeah, we've talked about it on the Empty the Quiver pod several times. I call it the recipe. So we got to get 6 goals from the lefties, from Mac and Fields. Then we got to get probably 4 or 5 goals from the 2 righties, King and Steins. And then we need to find 3 more goals kind of in the aggregate, whether that be Trey, who has shown the ability to score 6. Or that's the short sticks, maybe a 2-pointer from Woodward. I mean, I think this team scoring 13 points wins most games. And so, like I said, that's the recipe for me.
What about you, Toast?
Yeah, I think we need playoff Dauber. And we need playoff Dauber to just be playoff Dauber. Just play as he is, and we'll be just fine. Our defense needs to keep that same consistency. Offense needs to find that consistency. And if we live by Jackson's formula, we're going to be chilling. So we have all the pieces in place. We're peaking at the right time. It's just get it done mode at this point. Like we know we can beat anybody in this league, and we know that we can beat anybody in this league by a lot. We showed that. Our score differential shows that. We can beat any team in this league by a lot of points. So let's just get it done.
Yeah. And I will say this, I'm going to put this out here right now. Brett Dobson, if you have another semifinal game where you only give up 1 goal, I will personally carry you out of that stadium in true Rudy fashion out here in Salt Lake. Have no fear. I'll hoist you on my shoulders and we will carry you out and we will chant your name and you'll be a legend forever. Let's make that happen. So, but in all seriousness, like I'm when we saw this come out, Toast and Jackson, like the schedule, and we saw the semifinals in Salt Lake, the one thing we wanted to guarantee was that this was the scenario. That Utah was guaranteed to be here. That we could sit back, watch everything happen, knowing full well that our team was going to be back in the bank. Like, Jackson, for you, when that moment hit, we're like, yeah, we've locked this up. How did that feel?
That's great. I mean, obviously, it'll be really cool, for Dauber now as a Utah, resident. Obviously, he missed the first weekend, so it'd be great for him to get there. And like you said, he's already been so involved, but to get to play and reap the benefits, of that crowd is going to be great. Super excited to see McGuire there. He's always got the potential to do something awesome. And obviously, hometown kids with Bo and Stein's coming back again too. I mean, it's going to be so awesome. I haven't booked the planes tickets yet, but I do have that Tuesday off work already, so I'm coming.
Let's make it happen. And Toast, what about you? Feelings when we locked it up?
It's exactly what we wanted. Like, just get us to Utah. Just get us to Utah. The crowd will carry you the rest of the way. Like, let's get it going. I mean, I just feel like the state's buzzing right now. Like we're ready to go, and it's tough that we're gonna have to sit on the couch for the next 2 or 3 weeks to wait for that. But we're stoked. I'm very excited for these games coming up.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. And Jackson, we're so excited to have you back out here. Watch this space, folks, for things coming. We're going to be working on tailgate, all sorts of things going on. Like I said, there's a Sixers thing happening. We're going to have on this week Sid from PLL Play, who's organizing some of this stuff to talk about it and what they're up to. But yeah, just unbelievably thankful for Mike Rabel for bringing the Archers back out here for a second time. Like, that means so much to us as Utah fans and people in Utah to be like, hey, thank you for coming back out. And thank you to the Archers for making it happen. Like, it would have been miserable if we'd had to sit here and watch, Denver play California in the semifinals. And we're sitting at home.
I have a question for y'all. I have a couple questions for y'all, actually.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Water Dogs wore the Barrage uniforms this week in Philly. As Utah residents, would you be upset if we wore our throwbacks in the playoffs and potentially took Utah off the helmets and the jersey?
No, like, for me, when we did the throwback, I wanted them to wear like these bad boys, like, throw these back on. This is like, it's our history. Like, I would have been totally fine with it.
I think there's a potential that we do in the semis. I mean, they created them. Like, we got to wear them at some point.
I do think it'd be way fun.
Yeah. Toast wants ones with the little like the holes in them, like the real retro Archers jerseys.
I want the porthole mesh. I love those ones.
Yeah, definitely bring those back. Second question: what kind of weather are we expecting for the game? Do I need to bring sweatpants, or we just?
You get anything.
Evenings get a little cooler. I mean, we're talking Memorial Day. We're still having like cookouts, but it's going to be like perfect. It's going to be like probably 80, 70, somewhere in there. Evenings get a little cooler, but yeah, come prepared for anything though, because you might also get a snowstorm early in the season, but I doubt they'll be that bad. But yeah, usually doing cookouts and having a good end of summer, get together.
Usually it's about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
It's peak weather.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I don't know. And you might start seeing the mountain that might start looking a little orange and yellow with the leaves changing. You could be doing some drives up the canyons, like peak time to be here in Utah. So,
okay, excellent. Yeah, I'm pumped.
Yeah. So, all right, gents. I don't know if it's relaxing or maybe nerve wracking, like anticipation of what's going to happen over the next little while. Not going to lie, watching lacrosse today felt a little empty because I'm like, there's nothing really writing on this and I don't care. And next week's going to be the interesting one. And, as we look at things, we talk about people coming back to the bank. If we have California, I think the players are motivated to beat California and Utah because they haven't done that in a couple of years.
Yeah,
I do have something to say real quick. I think, I saw JB comment about this online, and with him not being here, I'll be his spokesperson. But for the last regular season weekend, we got to get all the teams playing.
Yeah.
Like having multiple teams on a bye for that last week, it does feel kind of like a bummer. And it sucks that a lot of these games don't really matter when we could have had all the teams playing, and there could have been some real implications. It definitely felt like this last weekend was kind of like, none of these games really mean anything. But man, if we had all the teams playing, it could have been pretty exciting. That was JB's take. I'm taking it on. I like it.
You want to know what's even better than that, Toast? Have them all play. Do like the Premier League does or any other soccer league. They all play at the same time on the same day. And so when there's implications in play, so like for the Premier League, like champions or relegation, you know what you have to do in your game, but you have no idea what's happening outside of it. So you're giving 100% because you're like, crap, we could win and still go down or win and still not win the Premier League, but you are giving everything in that game. And as a fan, you're like, what's happening? And you're listening to the radio and you're trying to figure out everything and texting people. Like, that is a lot of fun. So let's make that happen. Let's just get them playing in Utah every week. We'll make that happen. So.
Well, and one last thing, best of luck to Aiden McGuire going down to the Pan Am Championships this coming weekend. Finish top 5, stay healthy. That's all I'm gonna say.
USA.
You cut out there, Austin. I couldn't understand you. Sounded like you said UK. Go England. I can't remember. I didn't know what you said. Anyway. All right, guys. Jackson, as always, great to connect with you. Excited to have you guys back out here again in September. And thanks for everything, having us on. And actually, Jackson, why don't you take us out? Because usually Brady takes us out, but take us out.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna get a great matchup in a couple weeks at the bank. Super excited to get back out there. Everybody remember, let it fly, and above all else, win.
Let's go. All right. Thanks, everyone.
This podcast is not affiliated with the Premier Lacrosse League or Archers Lacrosse Club. This is an independent, fan-run podcast.
The Arrowhead, we aim, we fly through the chaos, cut in the sky. Hit the mark, we never miss. Lacrosse is live and it's